Today's guys, I am absolutely gonna go crazy. Let's just say that. I'm gonna go crazy. We're gonna be cooking. Get your experimental hat on. You've read the title. You can see the hero in the background. And maybe Urag could be a skill damage infantry hero. Hear me out. Hear me out. I know. You guys are probably like, you are smoking whatever you're smoking. I know. But this is why you click on these videos, because you're like, this is kind of interesting, right? And I know. So we're going on to Urag here. And basically, as you guys know, from kind of history, if you look at stuff like Madeline as the first example here, Madeline has skills that are Legion-based skills, which is also very important because if it's a Legion-based skill, it applies to all marchers in the game compared to a unit-specific buff. So here, technically, if you put Madeline on archers, your archer does trigger the 20% and 1200 shield, which is really interesting. Also, you will get a 10% physical damage bonus and 15,000 extra Legion capacity bonus. And the icing on the cake, and this is where you learn the difference between buffs now, your Legion also will gain the 15% counter attack damage, guys. Because the way this is coded, and every time you look at basically text on a buff, it's kind of like reading a Magic the Gathering card or Yu-Gi-Oh card or basically a trading card game, right? So the first line of text with this comma is actually a hard coded line of text. Then the next one is another line of code, meaning these are two separate buffs that occur on your march, which is really cool. So no matter what, you're going to get 15% counter attack damage. That's even on archers. That's even on technically, you know, your cavalry, if you want to run it on cavalry. And then if you run infantry, you're going to get the bonus of the infantry HP now, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And especially when you go into the last one again, it says here, Legion deals damage up to 3 surrounding targets. So again, you understand now how Legion-based skills work compared to, you know, unit-based skills. Another prime example, and we won't go as in-depth of this, but you guys will know where I'm going to lead to, is Magrat, right? Magrat, Zeta right now are doing the exact same thing, and people are playing these archers with mage marchers. Because the thing is with Magrat, this Legion-based variable healing applies to all marchers. So your mage actually deals 450% more normal attack damage every 5 triggers of variable healing, which will trigger because it's a Legion-based skill. Same with the second skill, whenever the Legion gains healing or variable healing, they're going to have that extra percent of the, you know, attack bonus, which is nice. Comparing it to the last skill, you can see Legion marksman unit. So you can again see the clear difference here. Now, bringing Urag into the mark, right? He's a cavalry PvP skill tree cavalry, and to be honest, a lot of cavalry players have been giving me feedback, and I do want to do a full video on him, and he's been a little bit actually lackluster. That's going to be the honest truth. Comparing him, especially to Tobin, Tobin is a powerhouse in cavalry. What a champ, I'm going to be honest. But Urag, surprisingly, has been lackluster from the feedback I've been giving and reading from all the cavalry players in Call of Dragons, which is interesting because people would have assumed when they first saw this hero, you know, AoE damage with splash damage, you're doing damage bonus and reducing damage taken, you get all these stats on top of this bypass, and then on top of this you get an increase in your AoE, right? So you would have thought, what a good kind of hero, but it turns out it's not good enough for actually the current cavalry players. They ain't too happy with him. They're using him, don't get me wrong, but I do believe as soon as the next cavalry heroes come out, or if there's some sort of Legion overall hero they're able to replace Urag with in the future, I do believe they're going to do it, unfortunately. So that does put him in a weird position as a hero. But when we look at the skills, this is where the video opens your eyes up, because this is, again, deal physical damage to target, damage spreads up to 2 nearby enemy legions. The next skill is Legion takes 4% less damage when marching and then deals 10% or 4% more damage in battle, right? Which is really interesting because now you can kind of see where we're going to go with this hero, because especially in Season of Strife, you can replace some skills. And the only skill you will need to replace is this one. Because this one is the actual cavalry base, you know, march speed and physical attack bonus. But when you look at this skill, Legion bypasses 4% of the enemy HP and increases the rage accumulation speed. So what this actually means for Urag is an infantry march has AoE with splash damage to nearby enemies. They also have 10% damage taken reduction when they're charging in. And a lot of the time, they are trying to get into the combat and take as little damage as possible, which is really, really cool. And then when they get in, guess what? All of your counterattack damage, all of what you're doing as an infantry hero is increased by 10% extra damage dealt. That is kind of crazy. I'm going to be honest, and I'm excited to see what this hero potentially could be doing in the future. And I'd love to see some of you guys test this out and send me some videos. And even if the mighty Chisgul is maybe watching this video, bro, please, I have got the matchup for you as well to make this work. And you guys are going to be like, hey, wait a minute. And I know, right? So we just need to replace this third skill because the last skill again is Legion. Bypasses over 10% enemy HP and you get that 10% rage accumulation speed, which is really good because if you think about it, this is a super offensive kit for an infantry hero with the bypass, allowing you to get maybe your rage cycles off depending on what heroes you're going to be equipping. And all you need to do is replace this skill. And the beautiful thing is, guys, you can replace this skill in Season of Strife with a bunch of different stuff, right? We know we can replace it with Fearsome Roar. We've already seen it. We could also potentially get this Tireless Will, Boiling Blood. Here we go, just some flat stats. Not too bad at all, again. But what you could also be grabbing is stuff like Eliana. Eliana with the 30% normal attack damage reduction, bro, we will be taking that all day, especially on our heroes. And then again, you could do something with Madeline, but spoiler alert, I think you could be pairing Urag with the Madeline, which is going to be really, really cool for certain players. But what I did want to look at is Nika, because you again could replace his skill with Nika's 20% attack bonus and 10% march speed bonus for infantry units, or you could get the extra 20% counterattack damage bonus and the extra hero skill damage bonus. Depending on your seasonal strife, you're able to actually choose these skills and replace it on your Urag. And that's what's really kind of clever about this build on Season of Strife exclusively. And that's why I think people might want to test this out. When you're looking at hero pairings, as I kind of mentioned, I would want to put this with Madeline. Madeline with Urag kind of sounds cracked because Madeline is a damn tanky hero, and she does grant us a massive 20% attack bonus steroid, meaning that Urag's AoE is going to do even more damage. On top of this, we have our own physical damage bonus, which is great. So that's another 10%, meaning we've got 20% damage dealt bonus now on our march. We have some good stats: infantry HP, infantry on the counterattack, and you guys know the skill damage factor as well on here, which is going to get benefited from, as you can imagine, our Urag, right? Our Urag has the HP bypass. 10% is a nice little bit of HP bypass even for the Madeline. So that's the first pairing straight away why I think you could do with Urag. Madeline with this. On top of that, as you can imagine, if you don't want to run Madeline, Fear Urag sounds just as good, and if not, it could be better, just because again, you're gaining a good shield, you're increasing your hero skill damage bonus, and if your Fear is, you know, awakened and you're running it as an infantry march, you're going to be shielding your march and potentially your Goresh Skogul, or, you know, your Madeline and Gowd, depending on what you're running is your, you know, your murder ball. And that is actually really powerful. On top of that, you're gaining the attack bonus, hero skill damage reduction, really good at tanking stats. You're gaining all of this apart from the march speed bonus because it's the flying as well as the attack, which is okay. We actually care about the 20% defense bonus here. It's making us actually tanky with infantry. And then finally, whenever we gain those shields, we're going to gain, again, extra attack. So you can see how Fear Urag could be a really good infantry option and experimenting with this hero, because it is unfortunate to see this guy in the predicament he is in. And you're probably wondering now, you know, I've spoken about those matches, what artifacts and pets would I run on him, right? So just to give a little shout out before you go crazy on it, I would, depending on the match, right? Obviously, Fear or Madeleine is both going to have Dragon Scale armor on. And that's amazing. Giving that 7.5% damage taken, damage dealt, plus the infantry HP is going to make you super tanky. Plus, you're getting a 3900 boon shield, which gives you 10% extra attack on all of your damage. And because you're using Fear and you're going to be using, you know, Madeleine as maybe the primary hero in this match, you're going to have that range resistance, which is even crazier if you think about it. So this is going to be potentially a game changer for infantry players that are looking to experiment, looking to maybe check this out and see how well it could do if they've got all the heroes already awakened, right? The other match or the other artifact I would recommend is going to be either Greyman's Warhammer, or if you don't have access to it, Fang of Ashikari. Both of these are basically, you can change which one, because simply it's all about the defense here. You can see both of them are given as infantry unit defense, legion defense. This is just double legion defense, so it's the same thing. And what's good about it is we're gaining the damage taken and that. We get a super amount of defense. The difference is we get CC. So if you want to lock people down to allow that Urag AoE to always land, why not, right? You can hit the ground and pound. Or if you feel like, you know, they're going to stick to you, they're not going to stop fighting, Fang of Ashikari is nice. It's just a massive AoE. It's going to give you, again, that defense, which is really important. But again, it's AoE damage, which isn't too bad for most players. If we're going to go scrolling down and down and down, there is a bunch of other artifacts down here. Maybe for the Fear match, Visage of Sanctus could be a option. Personally, I don't think it's going to be, because, you know, I don't see it happening, but I could be proven wrong. I'd love to see people try this out, but that is the only real other honorable option for players running this match. So yeah, Urag, guys. Urag as an infantry hero, basically as an infantry deputy for either Fear or Madeleine. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear if anyone has these heroes and is willing to hit me up with a DM, test it out, send some reports, and see how good this is performing. If they've got an awakened, you know, maybe Madeleine awakened Urag because they're just an old school player and they've got everything done. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, smash like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Until the next one, stay safe, stay sneaky. Peace out.